So thanks a lot for joining us today. Today's talk is really about working from home, tips and tricks, what we've been doing, how I kind of set up this company as a home-based company. And I've been running this 7 years now. And even before that, I worked at Yellow Pages, and it was half home-based when I relocated. And I also worked in the office, right? So I do have some experience working from home, and I think it's about 10 years now. And we also have Roger Murphy on the
Yep.
line.
John, do you think, could you mute people? There's just a lot of background noise.
Let me just see.
You maybe have to mute myself. I don't know.
No, I was able to mute. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Yes. And I appreciate your time today, John, too. It's, as you say, we've really been sort of fine-tuned our strategies around working from home. I've been doing it amongst, of course, with the agency here for the last 4 years. And prior to that, I had home-based when I was working corporate. So it's a different lifestyle, and it's for people that have been, I guess, with this situation that we're all going through right now, it's new, and it's probably a little foreign and unsettling. And how do you, how do you evolve to stay productive and work from home and get your job done, so to speak?
Exactly. And every person is different. Obviously, everyone's circumstance is different. So for instance, I do have a little child, and as everyone knows, school is not, around now, right? So
in session. Yeah.
In session. So I do have to be a parent first, as well as a business owner, as well as, being there for my clients, my staff, etc. So how do you equip yourself and manage your time accordingly, right? With all these things thrown at you. And as well, like if you're used to working from the office, how do you adapt to actually working from home,
right,
with way more distractions, right? So we have some tips and tricks, and I do want to make it more of a discussion. So I know Roger's here with some great advice as well. And what I'm going to do is really just start, right? And see if there's more engagement in that sense. But honestly, it's really about from our personal experience, and hopefully you can gain some insight from and use some of these tips and tricks to your own work environment currently.
Exactly.
So just the first thing is really making sure you have your designated hours, which is the same as if you were to go into the office. So I know majority of the people do commute, travel into the office, right? And we used to do it as well. I used to do it, but what you need to keep consistent is that same routine, which means, did you take a shower in the morning? Did you go get dressed? Did you have breakfast beforehand? Did you allocate enough time to get to the office? All that has to be consistent, right? Make sure that you have the exact same routine, because people are very familiar with habits, right? So keep your habit the same, and maybe by not commuting that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you can actually work earlier.
Exactly.
Minutes, right? So depending on your schedule, my suggestion is don't actually sleep in for the extra 30 minutes, but use that as more productive time. And that could be something to do with work, or it could be more about private time, reflection time, yoga, stretching, exercise, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Right?
And you're really picking up, John, an extra, let's say, pick your time. It could be an extra hour of quality time that you can use, and you don't want to miss, you don't want to just let it go, as you say, by sleeping in, but creating a new type of routine. And I agree. In the morning, what I like to do is, and everyone's different, but I like to get out, get some fresh air. I don't run every day, but I do a bit of a jog 3 times a week. But that idea of setting a routine, and especially now, if you're not sitting in the car or on the train, take that time. To your point, it might be meditation. It could be, as you say, self-care. It could be exercise. Just something to really get your day going. And then with that regular routine of when you hit the office or when you start your time, you start it and you keep that consistency.
Exactly. And just to give you an example, my routine is I still get up at 5 a.m., but the first little bit I actually read, right? So
Mm,
I enjoy reading and I actually enjoy cooking my breakfast and having coffee in the morning, right? So
hmm.
keeping that routine where I'm able to read, reflect, and actually plan my day
Yeah.
before everything happens because
Hmm.
my child's sleeping, the company's not started yet, so I can
Hmm.
get an idea as to fresh perspective on what can be done today or move me ahead. So like a to-do list, plan on all my meetings. Really, it gives you more of an outline of how your day is going to be set, right?
I
So
might add in there too, John, the people that are working from home now for the first time or very recently, they've probably realized they've got quiet, productive time available to them where they didn't have it in the office before. And I remember when I was working corporate, to get something done, I would get into the office at 7 a.m. before everyone else starts at 9, and I could get so much more accomplished, whether it's the to-do list, the documentation, or correspondence with business clients, etc. There's so much you can do. So I think people are finding, you know what, I actually am gaining a lot of productive time even before the official day starts. So you
exactly.
become even more efficient. Yeah.
And I think you hit on a couple points there that I wanted to mention, which is, productivity working from home and even at the office. If you think about how productive you are in a environment where you have social friends and people that actually, you talk to on a consistent basis or go for coffee, go for lunch, how much real time can you really focus and dedicate to actually get things really done?
Sure.
So if you think about how many hours were really productive during the workday when you're at the office, think about those productive times and make it like that's your productive hours while
Hmm.
at home. And if you plan it right and you do things correctly, you can actually spend way more productive time home base, get
Hmm.
things done at way more efficient level, and
Yeah.
be way ahead. Because if if I recall, and I remember working in the office where I would be going for coffee breaks, I would take longer lunches, and I would, you know, get bombarded while working and trying to focus with people walking into your cubicle, talking to you about social things, which is what happened this past weekend, how was your day,
Yes.
giving tips and tricks. Well, now that you're home based, you can actually focus and tune out on those other distractions
Hmm.
and maybe just focus on what you need to do, which is your current projects, your current tasks, and really focus on being as productive as possible so that you can shrink time, get things done quickly, so you can move on to the next task.
Yes. And now I want to just dovetail with that, John, from personal experience too. My kids are grown; they're out of the house. They're set up in their different places right now. But my one daughter said to me, Dad, what are you doing about self-care?" And I thought about it for a moment. I'm going, gee, I never really thought about that. But we all do something. Whether you, like yourself, John, you like to read in the morning and have your quiet time and thoughts and get your day underway in place. Do your things to do for the day. But I know how important your exercise is for you as well. And for me, um, I really didn't think about it, but I really, with the good weather that's here now, I have been doing self-care in terms of my jogging is a time to clear my brain, get some fresh air. So all these things we're talking about being super efficient, you actually have even more time to not only get your job done, but be self-care. Take care of yourself, because we are in environments now that are less social, and humans are social animals. So you need to get out, keep your distance from people, of course, but take care of your mind, your body, breathe, exercise. It builds all those proper things in your body. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So I think the second thing I want to talk about is making sure that your home has a separate space for your home office,
Mm-hmm.
right? So make sure it's designated away from your living room, your kitchen, your bedroom. It
Yeah.
has to be a place where it's it feels like a real office, right? Have an
Yeah.
actual table. Make sure your chair or standing desk or whatever it may be is comfortable, because
Hmm.
you're going to be doing there like as if you are in the office, right?
Yep.
So make sure that you have an environment where it's separate, it's dedicated, and it has good light. It
Hmm.
allows you to be comfortable. So a chair,
Yep.
or being able to move up and down, sit on a exercise
Yes.
ball, whatever it is that's comfortable, ergonomic. But the good thing about working from home as well is no one's really monitoring you as much as if you were in the office. So you can get up and take a quick walk, go, whatever, different rooms, get a few steps in, right?
Hmm.
Stretch a little, because it allows you to be more flexible in that sense, as opposed to
Hmm.
getting stuck and having people watch over you every little
Hmm.
second, right?
Exactly. Now, to your point about having a dedicated spot, some people might go, well, gee, I'm in a small condo, a small apartment, so everyone's situation is going to be slightly different. But if you can at all carve out some special place in your domicile where you live, create a space that is my work environment, and then somehow set the ground rules with everyone else that lives with you, that this is the space where I'm running my work, running my business.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
just like how you were to be in the office, have your schedule very similar, which is your breaks in the morning, your lunch, and your break in the afternoon, right?
Hmm.
But during those breaks, it's not a social time. Well, it's potentially a social time where you can have different chats, with group chats or whatever platform you're using to
Sure.
communicate at home. It could be Slack, it could be Skype, it could be WhatsApp, it could be text messaging, email, whatever it is on an intranet level or extranet level. But make sure that if it's not related to work, don't pick up your phone to log into social media. Don't
Hmm.
go into your desktop or laptop onto Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, check out images, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't allow for productivity. What I'm saying is try to focus at as if you were working, where if you were to go into the office, all these sites are blocked majority of the time, right? So make it a point that it's very similar, where at home, block those sites. Don't
Yep.
go on there until after hours, right? Social could be done when time permits, but when you're
Hmm.
working, you got to focus on work hours and being
Exactly. And then to that point, John, really, I think it's a great point is that this requires discipline. And working from home, yes, there's many benefits, and there's more time, as we've mentioned, and you've got more time to be efficient and productive. But the idea of being disciplined, where talking, of course, don't get distracted by emails and other open windows on your computer screen. I know we all live in front of our computers now. Other things of discipline, including, we talk about keeping regular hours. What about discipline in terms of dressing? It's very, very easy to stay in sweatpants all day. Very, very easy to not take a shower and clean up. It's almost a discipline where if you're going to do it and do it right, and and stay mentally strong and healthy through all this, you have to have discipline to self-care at the same time.
Exactly. And because you're at home, there's a lot more distractions, such
Mm-hmm.
as, in my situation, children, or there's a kitchen where you can easily snack and go and get food, or
Mm-hmm.
there's a TV, so you can always watch your favorite Netflix show, or there's, a lot of things that you're so used to when you're at home, which is social media, which is, distractions, right? Focus on why you are working from home in the first place, to be more productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the positives versus, oh, now I can catch up on my latest show. No, that's in the evenings and on the weekends, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's leisure time. When you're working, you need to be productive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, I always think about it like, if you're working, someone's paying you to be there. So imagine being that employer and you're not as productive as if you were in the office.
Mm-hmm.
figure out a way that you are equally as productive and you're actually doing more so that you can maybe one day propose that I want to be full-time in the office at home versus commute because it saves me time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pros to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Another, and we're maybe getting into technology a little bit, but I'd just like to mention people may know and may not know about the technology you and I are speaking on right now and that they're going to be watching on. And this is Zoom. And there's many different platforms, but this technology is allowing people around the world to work in teams, work remotely. We do it with our own staff because we're all home-based ourselves. But this technology is something that you can really harness to communicate, have meetings, stay involved in meetings, and learn and and I guess get best practices even from your other team members if you've got a bigger company. So
exactly. So communication, modes of communication is so important to stay connected with your team, with people that you deal with, projects or customers. Expand the message. Very similar to you putting the message out there. Eventbrite or Meetup or whatever, there's different channels where there's communities, Facebook communities, tribes, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. There's ways to broadcast that message out there. And then you can also communicate with your own team, right? So keep that social group connected, but in a different way. So you don't have to meet people for coffee in person. Well, you can still do a chat group and see how they're doing, right?
That's right. And to that point, schedule it. If you have a regular schedule, say, listen, at 5 o'clock, we have a meeting, or we'll have a social or whatever it is to wrap up the day. And I've actually met, I don't know, it gets out so fast into the society, but my neighbor next door and a neighbor of a relative of mine, I saw them, we kept our distance because of this situation we have going on. They said, I got to go soon because I'm having a Zoom meeting and we're having a cocktail meeting at 5:30 or whatever it is. So talk about staying connected with other people, this technology and being at home, working from home, but you could also stay in communication with people from home using all this technology.
Exactly. And I'm going to be very frank this way as well. Like Zoom is great for business, but it could be great for personal relationships as well, right? Like connecting with your family members and friends, right? Using technology to your benefit. And I know a lot of people may use Zoom or they may use Skype or WhatsApp or so many other ones out there, WeChat or whatever it may be, Google Hangout. All these are tools as long as you have internet. And today, internet is, affordable, right? It's mainstream where you can get fast internet speed at an affordable price and you get unlimited bandwidth, right? Just like how people are switching from cable TV, now it's more online streaming of watching series and movies, right? So use that technology to your advantage for your business.
Yeah.
Right. So another thing I do want to mention is storage. So how do you share documents? How do you communicate with amongst your peers, right? Your colleagues, your team, your clients, etc. So there's a lot of document, management systems out there in the online space. There's a lot of things you got to consider, such as security, who has access. How do you know if it's private documentation? How do you secure it to a level so that no one's able to hack it? Well, if you use big vendors, and we use Google for Google Drive to share documents, as well as Dropbox, which is Microsoft, which is OneDrive. These are big platforms where, and big companies that they have redundancies, they have security, and as long as you are doing things that are not illegal, you should be safe, right? So that's how we communicate. We share a lot of documents. We upload, download a lot of images, videos, and documents, really. Like everything is really shared amongst our team, and this is how we communicate. Not only do we use Skype or Zoom or any other messaging platform. It could be Slack, it could be Monday, it could be anything. Um, as long as it works for you and your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep it consistent. And as long as everyone's on board,
Yep.
that's the most important thing.
Yep. And that document you speak of, the Google, the Google Docs, it's editable live in real time by the whole team. So you literally can work on the same document at the same time, share ideas, and work as a team remotely. So it's pretty amazing.
Exactly. Technology is great, right? As long as you know how to use it to
Mm-hmm.
your advantage, right? Because, people are afraid of technology. And yes, it takes time to get used to using anything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is new for a lot of people, right? Especially if this is your first rodeo working from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That learning curve will take you weeks, months, and for us, now it's a habit where we've been doing it for so many years that I don't even think about it. I just
Mm-hmm.
do it, right?
Yep.
It's just the same thing as picking up your car keys or taking TTC or any public transit, right? Like you're just so used to it as a habit. So make sure that it's the same habits are great habits that you can sustain over the course of your day, week, month, year,
Yep.
right? Make it
And
sustainable.
from the standpoint, if you've been sent home by a company and you're working from home, it should be mentioned that, and we would encourage anyone to reach out and ask for what you need from your company. So if it is the technology, if it's a better monitor, it's a better ergonomic chair, so you're in a better position to protect your back, use or don't be afraid to ask for what's required to do your job properly. So
It's very important, especially if you're home based, right?
yeah.
And because it's a lockdown, you don't need to meet customers, right? So what do you need? You probably need a printer,
Mm-hmm.
or if there's a scanner or ways to actually do documents live online. Do you need to even sign documents, right? There's companies that actually do VeriSign. So look at technologies, ways which you can actually benefit your business or your ability to do things better, right? Like right now, do you even use a fax machine? Well, there's e-faxes, there's
Mm-hmm.
email, right? Like there's so many other things out there that allows you to be way more productive, and the cost is so minimal today. Apps, right? There's so many different apps out there that can actually help you be way more productive.
John, there was one I read, and because I did some research before our webinar today, to bring some valuable things forward. But in terms of diet and healthy snacks through the day, obviously you don't want to be loading up on junk food. What kind of snacks are you trying to stay healthy with while you're working from home?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for years. In the last year or so, I've been really focused on my immunity and nutrition. So I always have vegetables, which are
Mm-hmm.
my carrots, my celery, and my peppers, with hummus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cucumbers as well. So those are the four, and tomatoes. So those are fresh vegetables that I love having, dipping in my hummus sauce, and
Mm-hmm.
also nuts. So
Right.
whatever seeds and nuts, it could be pumpkin seed, it could be almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be, right? But just you don't want to overload yourself on snacks. But whenever you're hungry, make sure that you have
Yeah.
something to nibble on, right? Make
Yeah,
sure
you're
you're not
grabbing for something better than something worse, for sure.
exactly. So stay away from all that processed, chips or junk food, right? Because that's gonna make you tired. You
Mm-hmm.
want good oils, good nutritional food to keep you going. And therefore, another thing I want to mention is nutrition, diet is so important for you to maintain that energy level so that you can go through the entire day without a dip in your levels, productivity wise, right? So don't focus yourself on bad nutrition. So diet is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do, whenever I want to go take a break, I go to my kitchen, grab some, vegetables, fruits, or nuts, and have a lot of water throughout the day too. So hydrate yourself. So that's another thing too. Sorry.
Yeah. I'd like to also, and everyone's going to be slightly different, and there's probably lots of competing numbers out here about this, but because as we're all sitting in front of it, some sort of technology doing our jobs now from home, you've got to get up and move, because there's a lot of things, sitting is not healthy. So I know, John, you've got a bouncing ball and something you can stand on sometimes, and some things you can lean on. But even the idea of, if you are sitting, you need to get up on a regular basis and stretch. So that's an important thing. That number might even be every 20 minutes. Just get up, walk around, set a timer on your phone so that you don't get 3 hours sitting in front of a monitor and the day gets away from you. So
exactly.
I like that.
If you have the ability to not only just snack, but if you're able to have lunch quickly in 15, 20 minutes, as opposed to with a 1 hour, go for a nice little walk around your neighborhood, right? Get out, get some fresh air, because you're confined to your home. Unless you open your window the entire day, which for us here in Canada, it's pretty, cold for the most part to have your window open throughout the entire day, right? So go out, get some fresh air, fill your lungs with some really natural, fresh air, right?
Yeah.
Get some vitamin D as well, get some sunlight if you have the ability to, right?
Yeah.
And this will replenish you, right? Like, it gives you more energy to be productive when you get back to your office setting to do work, right? It's like anything, you need breaks. Everyone needs breaks, right? So don't focus on spending 8 hours straight at your desk. Focus on the same habits that you had while at the office.
Yeah, because as I like to say, to get up and have regular breaks, get that fresh air, move around, stretch, that can only help you to stay on top, stay healthy, and stay on top of your game. Because if you try and do a marathon session for eight hours in front of your computer, getting that project done or whatever it is, you actually are, you're not going to feel great after it's done, and it affects you the next day. So this idea of everything in balance, and then doing these regular self-care tips and tricks, I think will serve you very well.
Yeah. So very similar to how you schedule things at work with meetings and, socials or whatnot, have a calendar or write it down. And it's very similar as in scheduling appointments, meetings, anything, right? So make sure that you keep things as close as what you had it before, but using technology today, it allows you to do that, right? Like everyone has a smartphone today. So you might have apps, you might have your calendar, and you have syncing it with tons of emails, right? So don't let technology distract your daily routine. Use it for your benefit. Know when to turn off technology, know when to turn it on, and know what technology to use at what time, right?
Exactly.
And I'm gonna throw this out there, and Roger knows this about me, like at 5 o'clock, when the day is up, I turn off all my technology and I am very present with my son, right? Like, that's important to me. So you have to focus on what's important in your life. And if work is important, work when you need to work, right? Don't let distractions affect your daily routine and habits.
As a side note, I see many parents walking with little ones, and they're pushing them in a stroller, doing whatever, but that's with one hand, and the other hand has their phone going. So that's not being present, So I would encourage, when you turn off the technology, you can just spend family time, spend the family time.
Exactly. And even when we go and see clients in live meetings, this was before the lockdown, I would drive downtown and I would see people walking, looking at their phone, and it's a red light. Like, people are not even present while walking on the streets, aware that they're doing things that are jeopardizing their life, right? And all these things, just, you need to really focus on what's important at that time, right? And is that more important than your life?
Hmm.
that social post, or trying to get more likes and shares, or
Hmm.
sending a comment to someone, like that email, is it really that important? When you're
Hmm.
driving, should you be texting,
Yeah.
or should
I
you
think
just,
what you're talking about is use technology to your benefit, but don't let technology take over your life.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Very good point.
even when we were back in the day in the office, right? Technology used to be a place where it was only available at the office. There was no
Hmm.
smartphones. There was no, even cell phones at the time, right? Like,
Hmm.
in a world of before pagers, we had, you know,
Hmm.
phones, right? Like
Oh,
actual dial-up phones, right?
sorry, Wi-Fi. There was, and it wasn't that many years ago, John. If you were on the road, any data you had, any Wi-Fi you had, was literally, pick a number. It was like 5 MBs upload. It was it
So
was
slow.
useless. It
Exactly.
wasn't. Your technology was, to your point, it was only available in an office. Now it's everywhere. It's you have LTE speed, and it's going to get faster in your car in most places in Canada. So,
Yeah, so yes, technology is great when you need it for work, or, after hours, but
hmm.
imagine all those centuries of people, thousands of years without this last 10 years of technology. How did
Hmm.
they live? How did they
Yeah.
get by, right? They had, when they went to work, they really went to work. They
Hmm.
had no distractions. So if you can really focus on that home environment of making sure that when you're working from home, focus on working from home. Make
Yep.
sure you have your setup right, you have your bunch of water, your ergonomic chair, you have your breaks, you have your schedule, all of the platforms that you need. Imagine like you're at the office and there's no distractions and you're in
Hmm.
meetings, right? How is that going to look? So
Yes.
make it as similar
And
as that.
and if you, instead of being negative about, oh, I'm stuck at home, etc., if you turn it into a positive, that from the standpoint of, you've saved yourself, or you've gained back, at least, you pick the number, John, it could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be an hour and a half of commuting time that you do not have to spend now. You get that back. It's easier on your body, easier on your stress levels. So you can actually be productive and take care of yourself in this environment working from home. So it's a huge positive if you think of it that way.
And you're also saving money from the commute on gas, and everything,
Sure.
right? Going out for lunches, the commute on, if you're taking public transit, how are you using that money that you're saving? So then,
Mm-hmm.
it's all these things. Don't focus on the negatives, focus on the positives, and
Exactly.
things will be better for you because you're going to enjoy working from home way better when
Mm-hmm.
you're positive, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's how I embrace this, how I set up this company, right? Where every person who's joining us, they probably haven't worked from home before. They used to work at the office. And I have to not only sell them on the fact of all these benefits, pros and cons, but also let them know it's a challenge for a lot of people. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be different, especially if your sole purpose is to socialize at work and not be productive. I mean, you want to be as productive as possible, right? Like
Yeah.
employers want you to be productive. So
Yep.
focus on being productive versus being there just to socialize. So
And to your point, John, and we all know this, but there's a statistic, a survey was done, that a majority of employees asked, in terms of, why are you and why do you stay at the company you're at right now? It's the people, it's the social.
yeah,
So they may not love their job, but they like interacting with other human beings. So that all being said, I completely understand that this shift to working from home, whether in, because of this situation we're all in right now in 2020, whether it's short term or medium term, it is going to be, it can be a challenge for people that crave the social, and that's why they are even at the company they're at. So, that's maybe just as my final thought might be to try and stay socially engaged with your people through all the technology that's available.
yeah, and I think this is a short-term thing right now where
Mhm.
everyone's self-isolated. But when things get back to normal, make it a point where you're out there once a week, meeting your peers, your, you know, whatever it is,
Colleagues,
colleagues, your team members, your clients, whatever it is. We are social creatures, right? Where without that social environment, it's going to be very lonely and boring, right? So you need to stay connected with the people that you enjoy spending time with. So being at home doesn't mean you should cut ties with all those people.
Right.
You can still communicate and also plan on events, plan on looking forward to this social gathering, this coffee date, lunch date. Still go out. Like, don't say, you know, what I'm saying is, yes, you're home based, but you can still go out and do things at lunch. It might be different things and different people as opposed to your work colleagues. You might be able to spend more time with your family or your friends that you haven't had a chance to catch up with because you've been so busy with life, right?
That's right.
Work, family, you know, all these parties, birthday parties, whatever it may be, right? So catch up. It's all about replenishing all those relationships that you had over the years, right?
Yeah.
And stay connected, stay positive, right?
And at the end of the day, what if this extra time that you get back because you're not commuting, you can still get your job done, be efficient. What if it allows you now to pick up a book and expand your mind? What if it allows you to pick up a hobby? Like, oh my God, I have an extra, 2 or 3 hours a week because I'm not sitting in the train or in the car. Take advantage of your time.
Exactly. And not only do you have, a book is a great thing. People who don't like reading, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's Zoom, or there's webinars everywhere.
Audiobooks.
Yes. There's so many places where you can be educated. It's just now that you have additional time, say you shrink your lunch or shrink some, eat, breaks, go out for a walk and listen to, and be inspired and learn, right? This is your life that you're in control of. Or work on spending more time in the kitchen, cooking healthier foods because you were able to save money or, instead of going for fast convenience food, work on making sure that you're working on nutritional diet and nutritional dense food, right? That will help you have energy throughout your day.
And if you need any recipe ideas, there's this thing called Google. You just enter in healthy, quick meals and you'll have 100 choices. It's amazing what's available for you. And it's step by step. So you can actually start cooking.
Yeah. So technology plays such a vital part in today's world and environment. So make use of it. Make sure that it's a benefit to you. And hopefully that will transpire you to be better in terms of all aspects in life, right? Not just business, personal and family, relationships, just everything.
Exactly.
So thanks a lot for joining us on today's webinar.
Yep. John, thank you for your time. That was a lot of great ideas. And I got a few ideas from you even today. So that's great.
Thanks a lot, Roger. And if you do have any questions for us, feel free to email us at info@localseosearch.ca. And we are here to help, inspire, and hopefully make an impact to anyone that's interested in, improving their business, not just knowledge-wise, but every aspect.
Terrific.
Thanks a lot.
Well, again, thanks, John, and thanks everyone for attending today.
Thank you.